Daylight savings time, lose an hour. Gotta move this down. Stayed up late for the Oscars. They did, didn't they? They started earlier. That's exactly right.
What do you hope to see or hope to accomplish on special teams this spring?
Spring's huge for us in the kicking game. We're going to take a lot of those guys, those younger guys that redshirted last year or played minimal roles. They'll get a ton of reps this spring. We compete throughout the team. We divide the team up into 4 separate teams, and those guys compete in all the techniques that we're going to use in the kicking game. So we get a really good evaluation of really top to bottom. Your best players, your guys that are down the line of the depth chart. Guys get a chance to show what they can do, on the field and how they're going to go against guys. Some of our better guys, we have great matchups. I mean, it's a huge time in the kicking game, spring ball.
Are there some areas that you can't get to yet, that you have to do basic elementary stuff before you can get to the advanced stuff?
Well, we kind of start that way with the drills. The drills start, pretty bare, bare bones, and we work our way up to, for example, we'll start into one-on-one stuff, then we'll go 2-on-2. We'll eventually get to like 4-on-4, and then eventually you're into your scheme with 11-on-11. But it's a really good way to get a good evaluation of these guys and see, what the strides that they made from the time that they've been here. Even the guys that just got here in January. It's a fun time.
Does it take any pressure off you that you're probably not looking for a kick returner and a punt returner and a kicker and a punt? I mean, you have established guys at all these spots.
Yeah, it's nice. It really is. It's nice. But you can't be complacent. I mean, you can't look back into, last year is last year. It's over. It's a new year. It's a new time. Everyone's got to compete. Everyone's got to produce. But it is nice to have a good idea of, proven players at those positions for sure.
Kind of seems like the philosophy of yours of having a running back there at kick returner. Is it just seeing the lanes that they run, or what's kind of the philosophy, or where you kind of picked up on that idea?
Well, what I've seen over the years is those guys are used to seeing how the play develops. Their vision is typically better than some other skill players that you might put back there. You may lose a little bit of the top-end speed, which we're fortunate enough we really don't lose that with Bayshaw. But I think probably the biggest thing for me is those guys will break tackles. You're not going to block them all. There's going to be an opportunity for a guy to make a tackle on them, and they're used to breaking tackles. It's what they do. So I just feel like as a whole, as a skill set, you're just going to be more productive having a running back there. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that you won't see, we had DeJuan Lofton was back there a little bit for us last year. We will put a receiver back there, possibly even a defensive player. We're going to take a look at Thomas Williams this spring, who's a guy that is pretty dynamic with the ball in his hands in high school. We feel like he could possibly do some things in the return game. So, we'll look at anybody and everybody, but we've settled in on some running backs for those reasons.
Shifting over to tight end, Benji and Nick are obviously nursing a couple things. Do you expect to have them for the back end or a limited part of spring?
We're hoping to. Yeah, we're hoping to. They're making big strides in the training room.
And then with that, Cole, Zeke, Harrison, how do you see them kind of evolve from phase one, and what do you want to kind of see them develop in phase two?
You want to be able to have those guys stay on the field all the time. You don't want to have to sub a guy because he doesn't give you what you need in all, in everything you're trying to do. So in other words, you want a guy who can run the routes, who can pass protect, who can run block. That's what you're looking for. That's what those guys are competing for. They also want to be able to play on the ball and off the ball, which a lot of times comes down with length. How tall are they? How much leverage do they have? So there's a lot of things that go in, but to answer your question, all of those guys that are on the field competing, they're trying to stay on the field and not have to be subbed out for someone with a different skill set.
Stu, you brought up a few weeks ago about the transition from with Zeke and Jericius from quarterback to tight end in high school, in college. Now that they're gone through phase one and going into phase two, and they're going into the second year in the program, how much have they developed and how much are they becoming more comfortable at the position?
I think that both those guys have big upsides. I think they're getting more and more comfortable. I believe that making that transition from quarterback to tight end, your biggest area of growth is going to have to come in the blocking phase. I think both of them have made great strides in that area. The route running, I think we've talked about before. They have a good idea of that because they've been throwing to those guys, but the run blocking, I would say, is the biggest transition. Pass blocking, you could throw that in there as well. But I feel like those guys are certainly moving in the right direction.
You mentioned a few weeks ago, Andy asked you this about, like, what number do you want? You said ask you after spring. With Benji and Nick both possibly coming back later.
Right.
The fact that these other guys are going to get so many reps, is that going to help in your evaluation of figuring out, getting yourself to what ideally would be 4?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the reps are invaluable. As much as you watch film, as much as you prepare in the meeting room, as much as you walk through, there's no substitute for getting live reps. And so, I hate that those guys are missing, part of spring, but the reps that the younger guys are going to get will prove to be invaluable for them.
I know Cole didn't see the field a lot last year, but was like the...
Which Cole?
Cole Pickett.
Mm-hmm.
He was like number 4, then 3
Right.
for the bowl game. The fact that he was getting those reps, how much is that going to help him coming into the spring?
The thing about Cole is he's dependable. We know that he knows what to do, which when you're Cole was a former quarterback. He had to make the same transition that these other guys are making. But a guy that's been around, a guy that understands what we want out of the offense, understands his role, he is extremely valuable in the fact that he can get in and operate the offense. But he's like everyone else. He's competing to get as many reps as he possibly can, but there is a comfort level in that he knows what to do. Whereas with the younger guys, you're still kind of, pushing those guys along.
Let's go to Zoom if there's anything there for Coach.
Any questions on Zoom for Coach? I think we're good, Travis.
All right, we'll finish up in the room with Andy.
How far back do you go with Gunter Brewer?
Oh, man. Gosh. I think that Coach Carl Torbush, who was our defense coordinator at Carolina, he introduced me to Coach Brewer when I graduated college, when I was trying to find a coaching job. And Coach Brewer was the head coach at Northeast Mississippi Junior College in Boonville, Mississippi, as a matter of fact. I think that's the first time we actually met, and then we've stayed in touch through the years.
What's it like having him on staff now in that personnel role?
It's great. I mean, it's great. He's got a lot of energy. He's a very valuable resource, asset to our program. With those young guys in my room, I've told them already. I'm like, hey, when you walk by the high school relations office, stick your head in and say hello to Coach Brew. You have a little nugget for you for route running technique, and just he's just got a lot of. He's a great technician, teacher. He's an outstanding recruiter. He brings a lot to the table. He can add just in a quick conversation. Just something that he's seen work at all levels. I mean, the guy's coached 3 Biletnikoff winners. It's about as good as it gets in terms of what his guys have done through the years, and being able to add him in that role, his connections in Virginia and North Carolina, really all across the country, pretty very impressive, very impressive. I noticed that. You're seeing stuff you see stuff on Twitter all the time from all kinds of places, all around the nation. That when he was announced that we hired him, he just has that presence and that name. So it's great to have him aboard.
Anything else for Coach? Thanks, Coach Holt.
Yep. Good deal. You guys have a great day.